sports.
We are the Fourth. We are St. Louis.
This is St. Louis Cardinals baseball. And tonight on the banks of the Mississippi at Busch Stadium, it's game number 2 of this all-important 3-game series. The Milwaukee Brewers and the St. Louis Cardinals. Jim Hayes is here. That's Al Raboski. I'm Dan McLaughlin, and welcome to Cardinals baseball. All-important game, pair of lefties tonight, and we start with Austin Gomber.
Yeah, the rookie against a veteran, and Gomber first came to the big leagues, appeared 17 times out of the bullpen, but they really wanted him to be a starter. He's done a nice job as a starter. He won 5 games in August, and he's got 5 quality starts out of his 10. First time he'll be facing Milwaukee as a starter. Gio Gonzalez on the other side. You see the numbers with Washington, 7-11. He's pitched very well in 3 starts with Milwaukee, but this will be the best offense he's faced. Cardinals got him when he was with Washington on August 14th. 5 runs on 5 hits.
Take a look at our GMC leaderboard. The Cardinals in a slugging percentage against left-handed pitching. Got some American League teams at the top. Yankees in Houston, then Colorado, Atlanta, and your St. Louis Cardinals. The GMC leaderboard. The young guns got us here. How far will they take the Cardinals? Cardinals baseball on Fox Sports Midwest is coming up. Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. By Chevrolet, the #1 selling brand in the St. Louis area. Find yours at your Mid-America Chevy dealer. And by National Car Rental. Go National. Go like a pro. We're in St. Louis. It's game number 2. It was back and forth in game 1. The Brewers took it late. Turn the page, game 2, and it comes your way next. And a half-game lead over Colorado for the final spot in the wild card. Along with Al Raboski and Jim Hayes, I'm Dan McLaughlin. 82 degrees here in St. Louis. Really a dramatic win for Craig Counsell and the Brewers in game 1. So now comfortably 3 ahead of St. Louis. And for Mike Shilton and the Cardinals, the pressure is on.
Well, they still hold their own destiny. They just have to win. And they have to win starting right now and pretty much win the rest of the season. The 4 games left.
So Gomber going tonight. John Gant tomorrow. Off day. And then we'll be at Wrigley Field in Chicago.
Said 4, I mean 5 games. Gomber's numbers, it'd be his 11th start. He won 5 games as a starter, the only major league pitcher to do so in August. And he's pitched pretty well. And the Cardinals really like him in this rotation, being the left-hander. You see his Hyundai pitch arsenal. The fastball, he throws it 50% of the time. Remember, he's got a good curveball, and then he's learned the slider since he's come up here, and occasional changeup.
Kane, Yelich, Aguilar. It's a loaded lineup here for Milwaukee. Then Braun, who homered last night. Perez is at shortstop. That's one change. Moustakas, Scope at second base tonight. And then Manny Pena and Gio Gonzalez. And the first pitch swung on and missed by Lorenzo Cain. 3 hits last night for Lorenzo.
Gomber had pitched 1 game against Milwaukee in relief, faced Yelich, hit him, and then got a double play ball.
Inside corner. No balls and 2 strikes. The big breaking ball, 3 pitches and a strikeout of Kane. And the first out in the ball game. That's the pitch that got him to the big leagues, that big bender.
Yeah, good curveball right there. And obviously, Kane did not pick it up, swinging at a ball that bounces at home plate. So a good start for Gomber. And when he came to the big leagues, he really struggled against left-handed batters. And that's where he kind of perfected and learned how to throw the cutter, the slider, and that's been a big pitch for him, not only against the left-handers, but also against the righties too.
Here's Christian Yelich hitting .321. In his last 7 games, he has 8 extra base hits, making this late season push for potentially the MVP award.
No doubt about it. You know, really has had hit about .360 in the last couple months.
And a grounder hit to Colton Wong. He's back in the starting lineup, 2 away. So important this first inning to set the tone after what happened last night. A look at the Cardinals defensively. Around the horn presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Ozuna, Bader, Martinez. Along the infield, Jerko, DeYoung, Wong, and Carpenter. And Yadier Molina behind the plate.
I don't think it took Mike Shildt and his staff very long to get them to not, you know, to put the memory of an ugly game behind them. They really lost that game themselves. Got to throw more strikes. Can't throw a ball away. All kinds of little things right there. They were in position to win, and late in that game, and let it slip away.
And you did it too against Josh Hader with a couple of home runs against that dominant lefty.
Yeah, there's 2 times that Hader has been hit like that, and both times the Brewers have come back and won those ball games. But they have not seen their big lefty get hit like that very often.
Here's Aguilar, their big slugger. 33 home runs. And a fly ball out to right. Martinez back. He'll look up. 1-0 Milwaukee. Goes the other way. 34 home runs for Aguilar.
It's one of the strengths of Gomber. He doesn't give up very many home runs. That's just the 5th home run he's allowed. But this is a slugging team. And they changed the lineup a little bit, but they still have some thump on the bench also. So this is a very good offensive ball club that Milwaukee is playing with.
Now, Travis Shaw sitting tonight. He struck out 3 times. You got Scope in there, and Arcia sits, and you add in Hernan Perez, and he can swing the bat. Well, that's just power right there.
Yeah, just taking the pitch away from him, driving out into right field.
407 feet. There's Ryan Braun, homered off of Jack Flaherty last night. 1-0 Milwaukee. You're at the top of the first.
Danny, that was the slider, but it was up and really didn't have much downward movement to it.
It's a Cardinals staff that does not see many home runs hit against them. As a matter of fact, fewest home runs hit against this staff in all of baseball. And the 1-1 to Braun. Out to left. 2-0. Those numbers may change tonight.
Well, it looked like going to be a real quick and efficient first inning. Is turned into a couple runs, 2 long balls off the bat. Not what Gomber wanted to do. Starting pitcher sets the tone, and you really want to go out there and put up a 0, get your team. But another cutter right in the middle of the plate, and they're being hit.
So 2-0, and it's Hernan Perez now after the home run hit by Braun, his second in this series. I would say from here on out, all hands on deck. So the leash on whether it's Gomber tonight, Gant tomorrow, it's short. And that's the 10th time they've had back-to-back home runs this year.
And I think that not only Mike Shildt will probably have a quick hook, but so will Craig Counsell. Not as quick as last night. But you can't argue it worked.
And it's back to Gomber. He got the first 2 and then back-to-back home runs. Perez retired 2-0 after a half inning. Ryan Braun, number 17, in a 2-0 Brewers lead. The Cardinal lineup with Matt Carpenter at the top, followed by Martinez, who homered last night, then Paul DeYoung, Marcelo Zuna, a 2-run homer. Jed Jerko, Yadier Molina, Harrison Bader, Colton Wong back in the lineup. And the pitcher batting ninth, Austin Gomber against Gio Gonzalez. As Al mentioned in the open, took a loss last time he pitched against the Cardinals while wearing a Nationals uniform, but he's been very good with the Brewers.
Had 3 starts with them, 2-0, ERA under 2. See his Hyundai pitch arsenal. One thing about him, you got to be patient because he'll throw a lot of pitches out of the strike zone.
And strike one on Carpenter. Ricky Ankiel was talking about it on the postgame show last night. You've got 2 guys that throw curveballs, and to your point, said as a hitter, you got to make sure that it's in the zone. A lot of those pitches start as strikes and then drop out of the zone. 0-2 the count on Carpenter.
And there were actually a period of time where a lot of pitching coaches went away from the curveball because a lot of umpires weren't calling. And guys didn't realize that, you know, a hanging curveball goes a long, long way.
Jennings made the spot start and saw 1 hitter last night, and that was Matt Carpenter. A strikeout of Carpenter. Last time it happened when a pitcher just saw 1 batter against the Cardinals only twice. 1923, 1945, and now 2018. The Brewers with Braun, Kane, and Yelich in the outfield. Around the horn presented by Dobbs Tire and Auto Centers. Moustakas, Perez, Scope, Aguilar, and Manny Pena behind the plate. Gio Gonzalez has been very good in first innings. 30 starts and a .90 first inning ERA, 3rd lowest in the game. He's allowed just 3 runs in all these starts in the first inning. 1 ball, 1 strike on Martinez.
Gio was traded August 31st from Washington to Milwaukee, so he would not be eligible for postseason play.
Notice last night the Brewers again already early with Carpenter, and now Martinez, every pitch, guys moving with the pitch, and Aguilar was just moving there on that 1-1. It's now 2 balls and 1 strike. 3-1. Al mentioned the analytics, a big part of their franchise and the direction going forward. Some of the moves they made, and obviously the alignments defensively. And the 3-1. Pulled foul to the secret weapon, Jose Oquendo. 3-2. Phillies at Colorado coming up later tonight. Vince Velasquez against Chad Bettis. Philadelphia has dropped 12 of their last 16. Rockies won last night 10-1. That's game 2 of a 4-game set. Way outside, and a 1-out walk.
Gio has allowed 16 home runs. Not a terribly high number, but you know, you take those walks, and with the Cardinals and their ability to hit the ball out of the ballpark, you know, you get right back in the game.
Thinking about that Rockies series, Chad Bettis was working out of their bullpen. It'll be his first start since August 12th. And a pitch inside to Paul DeYoung. Here's a 1-0. Every time I see Gio Gonzalez, I think, what if for Washington, as he was in Game 5 and the starter 2012 of that series against the Cardinals when they fell way behind and Pete Kozma came through. The Cardinals had that dramatic victory as DeYoung lifts a fly ball into center, and a season in which they elected not to pitch Steven Strasburg, thinking maybe this will be the first of many times in the postseason play, and that did hold true to form, but yet it's a team now on the outside looking in.
Right, and remember Gio, Matt Adams, there are 8 different guys that were traded from Washington as they basically said giving up for this season.
He went 5 innings and gave up 3 earned, but remember he kind of started to unravel in that game and they had to go to their pen and the Cardinals came back and won it.
You helped me this, Dan. Your memory is much better than mine, but Davey Johnson elected to pitch to Kozma instead of walking him and with the base open and having Mott.
Oh yeah.
Mott would have had to hit or take him out of the game.
You force the other team to make that decision, and to all of us watching it was a pretty easy one. Walk him. And Kozma dumped a single into right. Here's a 1-0. Whacked into center field by Ozuna. The batter is Jed Jerko. Well, one swing and all of a sudden the Cardinals are on top, and it changes the feel in this game, but that's baseball.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And of course Jerko 3 for 13, but has hit a home run against Gio Gonzalez.
You know, you think about how the Cardinals have gone down the stretch here with all this young pitching. It's saying, hey, we got to ride it out. And the Nationals at that point in time said, no, no, no. Innings limit. And why they didn't back in the innings limit is beyond me, too.
Exactly.
I get it. It's stressful innings, but still.
I mean, you could be second guessed pretty easy away the approach they took.
And a strike to Jerko.
And I'll say this too, Dan, you know, no matter what happens, these 5 games to finish the season, this team with all the young pitching and young position players is going to be so much better off for what they're experiencing, win or lose. Obviously, the more they win and hopefully get to postseason will enhance that even more so.
And the 0-1 pitch.
Is that a balk?
Should
or he
be.
called time. They're saying that Jerko called time, but
and no argument from Jed. And by the way, it was this date in 1974, thinking of Tommy John surgery, that Tommy John had it. And he got an additional 164 wins after that surgery. Remarkable. Frank Jobe.
Maybe we can talk about that later, but so I saw him, watched him, part of his recovery, and it was
foul ball.
Thought there was no chance.
I think he should be in the Hall of Fame.
Well, you know, for what he's done, and he was a very good pitcher. Yeah, the full body of work. You have to be impressed, and you know, he never was a hard thrower, but he did have to reinvent himself to some degree, and was very good after having the Tommy John surgery.
Here's an 0-2 pitch. And he got him. So a strikeout of Jerko. And that's 2 in the inning. Cardinals strand a pair. 2-0 after 1.
Dan Colton says the tightness in both hamstrings that kept him out of action for a couple of games isn't gone, but it is doing much better. Colton said the shame of it is that both of the hamstrings started barking at the same time. He said that wasn't fun, but I got a couple of days to let them relax and get to a point where I can play. Mike Schilt told me they will be watching Colton. He said it's something that's been somewhat recurring, so yeah, we're going to be aware of it, but he wouldn't be starting if he wasn't ready to play. And Dan Colton told me he's been told that those ongoing hamstring issues were likely stirred up possibly by favoring that troublesome left knee of his.
Well, the Cardinals need him. 5 games to go. Half game lead in the wild card. A lot of guys not feeling up to 100%. That's the case with Wong. Thank you, Jimmy, and good to see him back out there. 0-2 the count on Mike Moustakas. Outside corner and struck him out. His second strikeout tonight. Take a look at Al Raboski's Toyota key to the game.
You know, Danny, every player dreams about going into postseason. You're going to be the star of the World Series. So I want to everybody to fulfill their dream. This is what they've been wanting. Play these meaningful games in September where it's a sprint right now, and you got to all hands on deck. You got to do everything you can to win every day, every night.
Here's Jonathan Schoop. He goes from a team that starts play tonight at 45-111. Hear that again. 45 wins, 111 losses for the Orioles, to now maybe fulfilling his dream of going into postseason play again.
I remember saw him in Baltimore a couple years ago, and I was really impressed with his overall game.
Good player.
Good offensive player. Defensively, maybe slowing down a little bit, but you know, he's one of those guys that you sit there and say, this guy, like the way he plays.
And Machado, Schoop, J.J. Hardy, Davis, the big first baseman and slugger. Adam Jones out in center, who's still with him. He's a 5-10 player, and there's some talk that he would be moved and did not want to be moved, according to reports. Hitting just 195 though, Schoop, since he got to Milwaukee. There's a ground ball to Colton Wong. 2 away.
Got to give credit to the front office of Milwaukee. Boy, they made some changes to try and help this club.
I thought their team was screaming for pitching at the deadline, and we talked a little bit about it last night, but at that point they need a little jump offensively. They got it. They add Gonzalez for the stretch run, and here they are headed to postseason play more than likely.
And that was kind of, everybody looked at them all winter and said, what a good offense. Got the bullpen, but you know, need starting pitching. And you touched on it, that they are very heavy analytically, and they believe in the fact that you don't let your starters go 3 times through the order. So they're going, why do you need starting pitching? We'll bulk up with our relievers, and we'll do the pitchers that we have and just have them go out there. Remember, Jimmy Nelson probably supposed to be their ace, and he hasn't pitched all year. Been injured. The game is changing, isn't it?
You bet.
I'm not sure it's for the better.
There's a 1-1 pitch. I also think the game is cyclical.
Yes.
You know, you look at one team and you say, well, how are they doing it? Maybe we should do it. And it's a copycat league. And then things kind of go back the other way, and you see trends in the game. But this is one that's probably not going away, the use of analytics. 2-0 midway through 2. Nation chases October's crown. Go to MLB.com/postseason for the full schedule. Now you got me thinking tonight. As Yadier Molina is coming up here in the home half of the second, and teams that are based with numbers and analytics, and every team has, you know, some type of analytical department. I go back to Moneyball. Everybody was talking about the Oakland A's, and now it's Moneyball Part 2.
It was on base percentage at that time,
but I think this team's version of it is better than the first one. The first one had Hudson, Mulder, Zito. You're going to win some games with that trio.
Yeah, they kind of glossed over the fact they had great pitching. But you know, and then now you look at Boston. They have 106 wins. They're 55 games over 500, and the last 10 they're 5-5, and still 55 games over 500. And one of the things they do is they get the guy to third base with less than 2 outs. It's like a machine. They give themselves up to get that guy over first to third, which you're always preaching. Put the ball in play.
They've got good speed. They run the bases well, smart, but also stolen bases, a big part of their game.
Yeah, I mean, they do all the things. You know, they still hit the home runs and they do what they have to do, but they bought into the team concept of we give ourselves up for the benefit of the team, and that's something that some people even believe it's a lost art because of you know, the way amateur baseball is now. It's all about launch angles. All these guys go to showcase events to be seen.
I think it's a big part of it.
Yeah, and they don't learn how to do it, you know, in a team concept.
But I would say this: until you start paying an individual for moving a runner over, and I understand that's the right way to play the game, but you're paid on home runs, you're paid on extra bases, production. You know, until I would find it fascinating if an owner said, all right, you got 5 years with a GM and a certain manager, and we're going to draft guys that can run, and we're going to teach the game properly, and we're going to just run everybody to death. What would happen then? You know, if you put a premium and a price tag on not striking out, moving a runner over, first to third, get you paid. I mean, those kind of things that win you ball games. A lack of errors. I mean, you'll sacrifice a bat and a glove at times. Glove comes in for a bat late, but primarily 7 innings. It's the bat that will play over the glove. I don't know, just kind of fun to talk about.
I know. And I still think a ball player will give himself up if he sees that it produces victories.
I talked to Stubby Clapp today, and I asked him, the manager of the Memphis Redbirds, how do you go from development and winning? How do you handle both? A fine line. And he said, but part of the development, and it was an interesting answer, and I'm paraphrasing here, is that when you teach somebody to move a runner over, you also find out you win more.
Right.
One is with the other. And Stubby was the George Kissel Award winner this last season for the minor league coaches, and it's a really prestigious award inside the organization. And I said, what comes to mind when you think of George? He said there's a certain number of ground balls for every guy at every position that they're going to face at some time, whether it be backhand, right to him, one hopper, coming in, bare hand. It was fascinating. And he said that's when I really started to learn about the game from George Kissel and many others, but we were talking about George specifically. And that's something the Cardinals try to do day in and day out in the minor leagues, so that when guys do get to this level, they're ready to play. And I think that's something that you think about going forward under Mike Schilt, who has run a minor league camp, what his major league camp may look like next year in spring training, and how much different it might be from Tony La Russa to Mike Matheny to Whitey Herzog to now Mike Schilt. The 2-2 popped up Aguilar giving chase. Scope as well. Foul territory, and it's Yelich avoiding Scope. Nice play. Boy, that's some nifty footwork there by Christian Yelich.
Now they're all converging right here. You see Scope. From our angle, it looked like he was a lot closer, but they both were aware of the presence, and both of them altering their routes so they don't have that collision. So communication was key there.
So 2 outs. Colton Wong, the 8th place hitter for the Cardinals. As they shift on the right side of the infield, third baseman playing in, anticipating the potential of a bunt. Gets the bunt on the right side. Scope, do or die. Bare hands and out. What a play. Jonathan Scope. That is big league baseball at its best right there. 2-0 as we head to the third. Cardinals home screen icons and features such as the MLB.TV game of the day. Download MLB at Bat right now.
Danny, I know you know Dr. Mike Cooper, one of our Hall of Fame campers from Fantasy Camp, and got some news. He's a dentist in Russellville, Arkansas. He had a heart attack yesterday, but the great news is he's supposed to have a full recovery, doing okay, put in a few stints, and we can't wait to see Coop back out there with his son Chris. I know a lot of the campers will want to hear that news, but the key point is that he'll have a full recovery. So get well, Coop. We'll see you next January.
We're talking about playing the game smart, playing the game well. Be curious about what Colton Wong is thinking, bunting with the pitcher on deck and 2 outs. I mean, he's got his reasons, but I'm just curious.
They're not good ones. I mean, you got the pitcher coming up, you got 2 outs. I know Gomber has had a few hits, but if you want to do that leading off and then the pitcher can bunch you into scoring position, it doesn't make any sense. Took a great play to get him out, but and maybe the good news is he tested those legs and it looked like he had no problem running.
And a swing and a miss by Gonzalez. He struck out 3 of the last 4 and a total of 4 tonight. Arkia drive to success, and a look at the leadoff batters. Kane and Carpenter, both with very good seasons.
The think about a leadoff hitter, the on-base percentage, and there you are. Two exceptional right there. A little different, you know. Carp sees a lot of pitches, and then Kane swings early in the count usually.
Carpenter, by the way, 99 walks total on the year. Remember some of that time spent this season not as the Cardinal leadoff man. Here's an 0-1 pitch to Kane, and it's a ball and a strike. And Lorenzo Cain with a career high 69 walks, signed a 5-year deal to come back to Milwaukee after a fabulous run in Kansas City.
Originally was in the Milwaukee organization, got to the big leagues, and then was involved in the Greinke deal.
He's batting .383 against lefties, second highest average in baseball. And the 1-2. Wong couldn't get there, and a base hit into right. That's his fourth two-strike hit in this series already.
Struck out the first time on a breaking ball in the dirt. This time he goes with the pitch. Fastball up and away. That's what you're talking about too, Danny. Just putting the ball in play. Out away from you. Try to go to the opposite field. Don't roll over on it and hit a little ground ball to short.
It's the 52nd time he's picked up a hit to the opposite field. Fifth most in baseball. I would imagine he'd be tough to shift against, but Wong was playing towards the second base bag.
Sure. And then Gomber, you know, the pitch away, you know, if he would have had a little higher, he might have got the swung and miss, but it was up.
They talk about the bat speed of Christian Yelich. He's put together. I mean, he's wiry, tall, lanky, strong, but the bat speed and getting the barrel through the zone, and that's why you see the ball jump off his bat. Yelich with 32 home runs. Outside, and it's 1-2.
Came into this season as a .290 major league hitter. About .311 in the minor leagues.
I remember talking to Don Mattingly 2 spring trainings ago, and he thought Yelich would be a 25 to 30 home run guy. So he's enjoying a breakout year. Ground ball slowly hit. Jerko to second, and they'll get the lead man.
Wasn't hit that hard. Kane runs pretty well. Bang bang play right there at second base. Took a chance and got away with it.
Back in the first inning, the difference thus far, if you just joined us, with 2 outs, Aguilar takes one deep to right, his 34th, and then Ryan Braun, his 17th to left. Back-to-back home runs, 10th time they've done that this year. Gomber came into tonight allowing just a home run, one of them in his last 45 1/3.
And then only allowed 4 on the season.
So 2 outs and a runner at first, and the 0-1 pitch by Gomber. 0-2. Aguilar started this year coming off the bench for Milwaukee.
Broxton, Mingo Santana, you know, guys that were very successful last year, end up either on the bench or in the minor leagues.
And the 0-2 pitch puts it in play. Wong can't get there. And the 0-2 into center field. 2 hits in the inning, 2 on for Ryan Braun.
I'm on a breaking ball, but this time he goes down and gets this one right back up the middle, hits off the mound there, and really skipped, picked up speed.
So here's Braun, who homered to left. There was so much talk prior to the season, end of last year, with the Brewers trade Braun to, and he's got a limited no trade clause, but would they trade him to the Dodgers? They kept him. You think about the signing of Thames, out of nowhere he came.
Remember, they had Braun playing first base beginning of the year.
And Ryan Braun with 3 hits in the series, couple of home runs and a triple so far. They went out, got Kane, traded for Yelich in a 24-hour span. All of a sudden it was catching everybody's attention just how good this team might be.
What was kind of surprising, you thought they had a pretty good outfield to begin with, and to add 2 players to it, and they had a log jam. But Thames got hurt, Braun got hurt this year.
Hit out of play, 1 ball and 2 strikes. Cardinals will have Gomber, Carpenter, Martinez looking ahead to the bottom half of this inning. And the 1-2 to Braun. Struck him out. 5 strikeouts through 3 innings for Austin Gomber. 2 in the inning. Brewers strand a pair. It's 2-0 here at Busch. Inside the newly renovated Enterprise Center. Exciting matchups, 19 weekend home games, many brand new promotional and theme nights all season long. And tickets can be yours at stlouisblues.com. Kicks off on October 4th. Hopefully that gentleman will survive that particular piece of meat he's downing and will be there.
We'll check back. Might take 4 innings.
I mean, that's a meal, man. 0-2 the count on Gomber.
Look like Jim Hayes at the trough.
I'm not going down that road, Al.
Jimmy?
I'm not doing it.
Jimmy eats.
I mean, Jimmy is. But without Jimmy, it's just not like having Cardinal baseball. We need Jimmy. We need Erica. Got to have our analysts. As Gomber hits it into center to Kane. And besides, Jimmy is very quick-witted, and he probably would embarrass me. So I'd rather not get into a verbal sparring match with Jimmy. However, to your point, that sandwich is right up his alley. Here's Carpenter, and we'll go second time through. He struck out his first time up. Gio Gonzalez thus far pretty efficient. 17.8 pitches per inning. That's what he came in at, third highest in baseball. You wouldn't know it seeing him pitch tonight. Last time out, what he's done in this Brewers uniform. Curveball taken high, 2 balls, no strikes. Two and one. Also his strike rate 60.3%, lowest rate in baseball.
And that's why we say, you've got to be patient.
Jeremy Jeffress, we found out after the game last night, was dealing with neck spasms, so that's why Craig Counsell could not go to him as Carpenter lifts it in the air to center. Kane under it. Out number 2. St. Louis Cardinals baseball is brought to you by Missouri Baptist Medical Center. Doctors call it world-class medicine. You'll call it Mobap. And by Toyota, let's go places. There's also this date in baseball history. Stan the Man, 1963, is named a vice president of the St. Louis Cardinals by owner August Busch, and number 6 forever retired. Had that long, and I mean really long, run as a GM. It was 1 year and they won the World Series.
1967. Anything that Stan touched, it turned to gold.
One ball, one strike. And the next to Martinez. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Jose batting .317 at home. That's tops this Cardinals roster.
And there's another thing about Gio Gonzalez too, is he's working at such a quicker pace. He was always one of the slowest workers, but they have made a concert effort to get him to not talk to him so much, get on the mound, throw your pitches. And now he'll take a little time because of what he just did, but his pace has really picked up.
I would imagine his defense behind him better.
Sure.
There's definitely something to it if you take a long time between pitches. The 2-2. Ground ball that's hit to short. Handled by Perez, and the Cardinals go 1-2-3. We head to the 4th and a 2-0 Milwaukee lead. 2-0 in the top of the fourth, and we check in with Jim Hayes.
Dan, everyone raves about Jack Flaherty's intensity. Well, Jack is a fan of Austin Gomber. Flaherty told me Austin may be more intense than any of us. He's not intimidated by anyone. Doesn't matter who's hitting, he's going to pitch his game. Flaherty also said of Gomber, no matter what's working that day and what's not, he believes he's going to find a way to get you out. He said most guys hope they find a way. Gomber really believes it. And here's something you might not know about Austin Gomber per Flaherty. He loves to stir the pot. Flaherty loves the Lakers, and he says just about every day Gomber finds something disparaging to say about LeBron or even Kobe to get under Jack's skin. Jack says, I try to ignore that guy, but sometimes I just can't.
Gomber was on the caravan with us this year, Al, and we asked him what it might be like to make his debut this year. And not only has he made a debut, he's now pitching in one of the most important games of the season. Go on those caravans, you never know who might be that next star. Always fun to do.
You and I really do get a chance to get the younger guys and get to know them a little bit, feel comfortable, let them be comfortable around us, and it's fun.
No question. Strikeout of Perez, number 6 tonight for Gomber. I would say too, Al, as you're going to look at the Chevy replay, that there's something about having a lefty in a rotation.
Yep. Now you don't have to, but it does, as you say, break up things. If you have 5 right-handers, you know, the couple of them are going to be somewhat similar.
Think about being in the Central with Polanco, Votto, Jeanette, all the lefties here with Milwaukee, Chicago with Rizzo, and some of the others that they have. Very important. Into the shift, and there's Wong on the outfield grass. Moustakas is out number 2. And it brings in Jonathan Scope. Really enjoyed my conversation with Stubby Clapp today. Congratulations to Stubby, and he's headed to the Arizona Fall League, so he's going to manage there.
Yep.
And then we'll find out what that next step may be.
Next step may be somebody asking permission to talk to him about a vacant major league job.
You would have to think bench coach, certainly, maybe manager. He is from Canada, from Windsor. And the 1-0 pitch. I said, how does a guy from Canada, I'm always intrigued by this, having done hockey for a number of years, but how do you become a baseball manager? He said, when you don't grow. I stopped growing. He said, I was a very good hockey player, but baseball is where it took him through with a scholarship and then eventually to the professional ranks. And he was really open and honest about his answers with all the turnover. He said, I didn't worry about when players come up to the big league level. My whole focus was, how am I going to get the guys that are there now to the big league level? So I said, well, you had a lot of chances to surprise some guys with their dreams and telling them. And he said, that is the best part of the job. And I said, which one was the best? And he said, Dakota Hudson. And for fans that don't know, he had conversations with Dakota about different things, whether it be going to an all-star game, a futures game, his workload. Is Brian Eversgerd, the bullpen coach, is on the phone. And he said, I could tell he was disappointed that I wasn't telling him he was going up. And so when I took him out of a game, I had a major league ball and had a special inscription in it that told him, he said, give me that ball, you're going to start throwing this ball. And it was a Major League Baseball, and that's how he told him he was coming up. Pretty cool story.
Yeah, Tyson Ross started throwing. He's been a welcome addition to the ball club.
Pitch count at 57. And the 0-1 pitch to Manny Pena taken inside.
Gomber allowed the 2 solo home runs back to back in the first. And he scattered 3 more hits, but he's got 2 outs right here, so get the 8th place hitter out.
One ball and 2 strikes.
See, he has swing and miss stuff. You know, he He's got the good curveball. The cutter sliders helped him, even though it got him in trouble with a couple solo shots tonight, but does a good job of elevating that fastball.
Here's a 1-2 pitch to Manny Pena. Elevated, hung it, and they're going to run on Ozuna. No. Runners at first and second with 2 outs. That's again with 2 strikes. He cannot put the hitter away. He does have 6 strikeouts tonight. 2019 Cardinals crews coming up. Mike Schilt will be on it. Alex Reyes, Brian Eversgerd. Cardinals Hall of Famer Vince Coleman and Fred Bird. Space limited, one-of-a-kind fan experience. Autograph sessions, Q&A. Cardinals.com/cruise.
You've been on the Cardinal cruise. You took your mother.
I did. We had a lot of fun.
We used to go on them all the time, and they really are great fun, and players really do end up enjoying it.
Gio Gonzalez with a base hit to center. Run will score to make it 3-0. Came in batting .063.
His first RBI of the year.
And with Kane coming up, does Mike Schilt go to his bullpen? You can't wait.
A lot of mistakes, and that will be it.
The Brewers have 7 hits, with 6 of those coming with 2 strikes and 2 outs. So that's it for Gomber. Ross coming in. It's 3-0 Milwaukee. Very good pickup. Made a spot start in Kansas City, and then has been used primarily in these types of spots where the Cardinals may look to get a little length. That's what he'll do, at least attempt to right now.
You're right. He's done a really nice job coming in multiple innings and stop a little rally going and let the offense take a chance to get back in this game. Still just 3 runs down.
Kane leads the team, batting .326 with runners in scoring position. So the Cardinals want the righty-righty matchup, and that's taken for a strike. High, but a strike. Gio Gonzalez, his first RBI since 2017, early that season. Nice play by Yadier Molina.
Gomber, that slider has really been a good pitch for him, but tonight he kind of betrayed him, and there's that good pick. Not expecting it to be that far outside. We have to backhand it from runners on base.
For the Brewers, that was their first hit with runners in scoring position in the series. Here's a 1-1 Kane.
Yeah, Milwaukee had no hits with runners in scoring position last night. Remember we talked about the 2 innings. They had 3 runs on just 1 hit.
At one point, the Cardinals had a walk, hit batter, then back-to-back walks, one of them coming with the bases loaded, then a sac fly, and the Brewers were right back into the game. As a matter of fact, they were 2 for their last 28 with runners in scoring position coming into this series.
And the eventual winning run scored on an errant pickoff play at first base with Moustakas there, who's not running, but Mike Schilt called for that, took full responsibility, but still you got to be able to execute a throw to first.
I think the bigger question, why? Now, my understanding would be, or at least what I'm thinking is, if you throw over, he may show that there's going to be a bunt. But it's one of those situations you would think at this level it's executed and there's no problem.
Especially with Bud Norris.
Yeah.
You know, a veteran guy. But he actually threw it trying to pick him off.
Here's a 3-2. Runners go. Kane hits it out of play. The Phillies and the Rockies scoreless. That's in the top of the 3rd. There are some anxious moments. I mean, you just feel it right now here in the ballpark. It's tense. This is a guy that can do some damage at 3-2, and now the base is loaded. Base is loaded for Yelich. And all this has been done with 2 outs. Most batted balls with 100 miles per hour exit velocity. Yelich and then Ozuna. David Peralta, the former Cardinal pitcher in the minor leagues. Javi Baez and Trevor Story on that list.
Somewhere you'd have to think of the American League that Stanton would be near the top 2. So 3 former Marlin outfielders hit the ball hard.
2 outs, bases loaded. Yelich looks at strike 1. Two outs and runners in scoring position. This is not who you want to see if you're a Cardinal fan. Big numbers for Yelich, and he's hot. Whacks it into right center. This will clear the bases. Yelich to second, thinking 3, on his way to 3rd. Bases clearing triple.
You can just hear MVP from Milwaukee fans that are here.
They've asked for that ball. That's now 101 driven in by Yelich.
He had 98 RBIs in Miami, but here goes over the 100 mark. Trying to win a batting title, and you can tell that he has really helped this ball club in many different ways.
He's now driven in 39 in his last 29. And a 6-0 lead for Milwaukee. Jesus Aguilar at the plate. He's 2 for 2 with a home run and a single. Oh, 2. The 0-2 pitch in the dirt, 1-2. Christian Yelich, bases loaded triple. The inning began with a strikeout and a groundout. Jonathan Scope came up, base hit to left. Manny Pena, the single to left, and then the one that really hurts, Gio Gonzalez.
First pitch, slider, RBI.
And after Gonzalez, Kane, the walk. And Kane was the first batter that Ross faced after Gomber was through for the night. And the triple by Yelich in right center for a 6-0 Milwaukee lead.
5 of the 6 runs were charged to Gomber.
And the 1-2 by Ross hit out of play.
Still game, a lot of game left to come back, but got to hold them right there.
It was the 7th triple this season for Christian Yelich. 2 of those coming when he hit for the cycle. It's 11th overall in Major League Baseball. Marte for Arizona has 12.
Not the fact that both cycles were against Cincinnati for Yelich.
Aguilar strikes out. First time ever he's gone above the century mark in runs batted in. 6-0 Milwaukee. To drive in 3. All 6 runs tonight have come with 2 outs for Milwaukee. And we talked about it earlier. A lot of 2-out hits and then scoring with 2 runs. And the Cardinals have their work cut out for them. This Caprati telecast presented by the authority of the Cardinals. It may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the St. Louis Cardinals.
A lot of kids in the stands tonight. Taught all the kids how to dance like that, right?
They teach me. You come to the ballpark, you bring your favorite electronic device. Six nothing here in the bottom of the 4th, and Paul DeYoung is the batter. Cardinals have one hit tonight. That was Marcell Ozuna. And a strike.
Got 6 innings to peck away, get back in this ball game. Fulfill your dream, Danny. Not the way the boys dreamt it up.
It was your key to the game. It's not a dream. This has been a nightmare so far.
Time to change it.
And he can quickly. Fly ball, left center, and Kane with the catch.
A little too much launch angle.
Here's Marcell Ozuna, Old Dominion, bringing their best. National League RBI leaders in September. Michael Conforto of the Mets with 27. Yelich, Rendon, and then Ozuna. So 1 out and nobody on. And the pitch is strike.
And that was before tonight, so Yelich is up to 25 RBIs in September. Ozuna's got 18.
The Phillies a 1-0 lead over the Rockies. That's in the top of the 3rd. Pittsburgh, Chicago scoreless. And the 1-1. Out to left and a base hit. Ozuna has the 2 Cardinal hits. So Braun just say, wow. Ball just skipped right up to him.
Braun playing really deep. See that the wow on there as that ball hit the grass and took off. I've enjoyed being around Ozuna this year. Very likable.
Off speed pitch again to Jerko. That's what he struck out on first time up.
Gio's got a really great changeup also, but you know that Jerko, a dead red hitter, loves the fastball. So you can see him get ahead and don't want to throw him a fastball for a strike. As they throw him his fastball.
Yeah, they got it right there, didn't he? Pittsburgh a 3-0 lead over the Cubs. And the 0-2 pitch to Jerko, taken high. The average fastball velocity for this left-hander, Gio Gonzalez, right around 89 miles an hour, 6th lowest in baseball. But if you can cut it, move it, spot it, so what?
A little better velocity tonight, 91, 92.
Yeah.
Derek Johnson, the pitching coach from Milwaukee, as I said, he's really trying to get him to work faster. Don't think as much out there.
The 2-2. Yadier Molina on deck, 3-2 the count, 6-0 our score with the outfield deep and straight away. And I'm sure they would tell him don't pick, throw strikes, 6-0 lead.
Sure.
Be aggressive. And the 3-2. He walked him. 6-0, and he went with a breaking ball to Jerko, and that gives you an idea what they think of what he could do with that fastball.
Second walk of the night, but that's what we say. That's where he could get in trouble.
Bought enough food for the entire section? We understand. Great Southern Bank. We're fans too.
Runners at first and second, 1 out. The pitch to Yadier Molina. Trying to serve it into right.
One of the reasons why pitching guys get in trouble with pitch counts is because they show their entire arsenal to every hitter. Doesn't matter if they've got nobody on base and got a big lead. You know, if a guy's not hitting your sinker, just throw it. Well, what's wrong with getting a little ground ball to second? Or have somebody roll over and get a ground ball. You know, you've got 6 runs to play with. But they want to show every pitch, and then they wonder when they get in a jam why the hitter's looking for their out pitch.
The 0-1. Nothing in 2.
Gio would like to do that a lot too, is elevate the fastball. Produces a lot of swing and misses.
And the 0-2 pitch to Yadier Molina. Molina hits it out to deep left. At the wall. Goodbye. 3-run homer. Molina.
Get right back in the game. High fastball. This time he gets up on it. Throw a high fastball, and a lot of times you get the swing and miss or pop up, but he was looking for it. He centered it and hits the 3-run, and the Cardinals are right back in this ball game.
First 20 home run season for Yadier Molina since he hit 22 back in the 2012 season. Well, we talked about it earlier. We've seen it before with Gio Gonzalez in a big lead against the Cardinals. You never know.
Right. And you saw their pitching coach went immediately out to talk to Gio to try and get him to not, you know, worry about it so much. Still got a 3-run lead. Go out and get the hitter.
And it came on an 0-2 pitch. Just the 3rd home run at Busch Stadium at a much needed time for Yadier Molina.
Now, all 3 of those pitches were out of the strike zone, but that one was more of the top of the plate, and he got up on top of it. Bader, who flew out to right field, a foul ball in right field the first time up, he was 3 for 3 with an RBI off of Gio.
And it's 1-2. The Nissan drive of the game. Off the bat of Yadier Molina and this unique look down that left field line.
Good camera work right there, right?
395 feet down the line.
They got their bullpen working too.
Bader taps it foul.
Xavier Cedeno is throwing along with a right-hander.
Hit sharply to short, quickly to first, and Bader the out. And with Coldwell coming to the plate, take a look at our BP brighter picture. Coldwell since August, 333 the average, 400 the on base percentage. Love to see that. Runs batted in and the run scored.
That's the unfortunate thing about the injury he sustained, is that he was swinging the bat so well. Really one of the more productive hitters the second half, and still playing his Gold Glove defense.
He's picked up the pace again here. 1 ball, 2 strikes on Colton Wong.
It's easier to pick up the pace when you have nobody on base.
And Wong pops it up. Moustakas the catch. The single, a walk, and then Yadier Molina 3-run homer. We head to the 5th. Long way to go. 6-3. Certainly you'd love to help, but you got to take care of business in your game. The Cardinals trail 6-3. They've been out hit 8-3, and there's a grounder off the bat of Braun. 1 pitch and 1 out to start inning number 5.
And it's always so important when the reliever comes in with men on base to retire that first man. Ross was not able to do it. He walked Kane. Then Yelich had the bases clearing triple. But if you would have come, we'd have a tie game if you would have come in and got the first guy out with two outs.
Hernan Perez, he is grounded out and struck out. So it could be just a couple of more batters for Ross. Moustakas on deck, but he is due up first for the Cardinals in the bottom half of the 5th. We'll see how Mike Schilt wants to play it. Jason Shreve is throwing in the pen, and there's a base hit into center field.
Say what he wanted was 3 up, 3 down. And if you were to bring in the left-hander, then you've got to do a double switch, or you lose him.
So here's Mike Moustakas, 0 for 2. He is struck out and grounded out. And a swing and a miss for strike 1.
A lot of times when you're a reliever and you come in and you give up the runs, you know, you really feel, obviously you feel terrible, but then you really kind of say, okay, I'm going to settle in here and I'm going to do the job and get us back in it. But it's so important to put up a 0 this inning.
Here's the 0-1 pitch to Mike Moustakas instead of check on Perez. By the way, Yadier Molina has tied Enos Slaughter, 13th place all time in Cardinals history, with 146 home runs. Enos Slaughter, 10-time All-Star, played in 5 World Series. Hall of Famer back in 1985. 1946 World Series, the mad dash of Enos Slaughter.
Playing in a old timers game in San Diego. You know, part of the conjunction with the All-Star game there that year, and Enos playing right field at probably age 75, 78. Dove for a ball in foul territory, make a catch.
Deep right. Martinez back at the wall. Catches it off the wall. It is not a catch. And I've explained it before. Just think of the wall being an extension of the ground. So if it would hit the ground, you know it. As a fan, it's not a base hit. So the wall is an extension of the ground. And even though it did not hit the ground off the wall into the glove, it's the same as if it hit the ground. So it's a double.
Yeah, it just didn't get back quick enough to where he could have made this play. And you see him feeling for the wall, gets there and everything. It's just beyond his reach, but it hits the top of the padding, pops up, he catches it and gets it back in. So a double from Moustakas, earns his second and third, and not what you want to do after your team just got you 3 runs to get back in it.
Intentional walk to Jonathan Scope and brings in Manny Pena. Pena the single to left and scored on the triple hit by Yelich. He's grounded into 13 double plays.
Middle infielder back for a double play and go home.
That's the pitch there. You're hoping to get him to reach and roll over, get a ground ball.
Exactly.
So the bases are loaded. Want to know the count on Manny Pena. He's had 53 opportunities to ground into a double play. He's done so 13 times. That is the highest rate in Major League Baseball. So the move makes a lot of sense, trying to get the double play here in a ground ball. Could really be a turning point potentially for the Cardinals, and some momentum in this game.
And if you get that double play, you bring that momentum right back to the dugout.
I mean, that's Yadier Molina right there. How about how he framed that pitch on the outside corner? Quiet, but yet got it out in front. Just the little things you take for granted to frame that baby up.
See him catching the ball, but just ever so slightly as he clamps down on it, the wrist pulls it into the strike zone a little more.
And it's 2-2.
Everything had been away, and then that ball up and in just enough to get him conscious, get him maybe from back off the plate a bit.
Single to double, an intentional walk. Perez, Moustakas, Scope. It's a big pitch here on 2-2.
Don't want to run it full.
And he's done it. 3-2 the count.
You know, Dan, so many times a lot of hitters feel the pressure is on them. You know, they're in this RBI situation. The pressure's not on the hitter. Just relax. The pressure's on the pitcher.
And time called. And the 3-2 pitch by Ross. Line past Jerko into left field. One run will score. 7-3. No pinch hit for Gio Gonzalez.
Now this where you got to throw a strike. Breaking ball. Good piece of hitting right there. You saw that he had no grand slams, but just inches away from Jerko. But a 316 average with the bases loaded, and he added to it.
Dominic Leone will be the third pitcher of the night for the Cardinals. That'll be it for Tyson Ross. And the bases remain loaded. Domingo Santana coming up when we come back. Bases loaded, still only one out. Game 2 of this 3-game series. There's Chevy called to the pen. The 29th appearance for Dominic Leone. Cardinals like what he can do with lefties, get in on him under the hands of a left-handed batter. And it was Thames with a big hit off the bench in Game 1 for Milwaukee late.
That's all about team wins right now, so they'll go for the big scoring opportunity here with Thames. What an April he had last year. Come right out of Korea and was the talk of baseball first couple months.
So 1 out, bases loaded. And ball high.
Had a thumb injury very early in the season. That's why his numbers are down. But another very dangerous threat when he's in the lineup or coming off the bench.
And the 1-0. A ball and a strike. Last 4 games, 2 for 28. Runners in scoring position. Tonight, a different story, 3 for 5.
They're winning those games too with that lack of production. But how many opportunities?
Here's a 1-1 to Thames. That's the pitch right there.
Yeah, there's the 2 strikes he's got on that little slider and everything. And, you know, it's such a shame that he was hurt for so much of the season. See the spin of the slider? Doesn't have to move a whole lot. Appears to be a fastball, and then it just moves enough to miss that bat.
And the 1-2 pitch to Thames. 2-2.
Fastball away. See if that doesn't set up the slider back in.
Full count. A dangerous pitch coming up here with a guy that could lose it.
How about a muscle contest between O'Neill and Thames?
I'm taking O'Neill still. 9 of the last 12 for Milwaukee. They have reached. The 3-2 pitch. He got him. Strikeout of Thames. Big pitch there by Dominic Leone.
That's what you're talking about. That slider that just under the hands. Base is loaded. Big opportunity here. And comes up empty.
Well, I say that because we got to be around Tyler every day. Thames goes out of town tomorrow, so I don't have to worry about it.
Oh, I didn't say you were wrong.
Some pretty big dudes.
I mean, just you look at the players in the 70s and 80s. You know,
it's unbelievable. Lorenzo Cain at the plate. He struck out, single to right, and walked. It scored in the triple by Yelich with the bases loaded in the 4th. If you come out of this inning with 1 run allowed, you feel
exactly.
I mean, you don't like it, but still only midway through the game. Soft liner, and it's hit to Carpenter. The catch is made. Good work by Dominic Leone. For Milwaukee, John Gant for St. Louis. Note the start time 5:30 tomorrow, 6:15 with the first pitch in Game 3 of this series and the final home game regular season on the schedule. Xavier Cedeno, we saw him appear in the ball game last night. They have 3 lefties. So Chevy called to the pen, his 45th appearance. They've got from the left side Cedeno, Jennings, the starter last night. Hader, who came in, gave up a couple of home runs. Be interesting tonight. You wouldn't think Hader's available, but go back to Knebel for another outing, and Jeremy Jeffress, if he's available with the neck spasms, if everything's right, everything goes according to plan, and he feels okay during the game. He's at the back end.
As far as the start of the game, Jeffress was cleared to be available tonight. But as you said, it could creep up.
Here's Patrick Wisdom to lead it off. Good work by Dominic Leone. Wisdom pinch hitting for Leone, who came in with the bases loaded, 1 out, and did not allow a run to score.
Cedeno pitched very well for the Brewers. 11 scoreless appearances. An average 154 against him. Came over from the White Sox.
A ball and a strike on Patrick Wisdom.
Wisdom's done a nice job since he's been promoted to the big leagues. Play first, third. I would think a corner outfielder in a pinch.
Here's a 1-1. And a base hit out to left. The wide turn around first. He'll stop there and a leadoff hit.
Good base running there because he left the batter's box thinking two. Took the wide turn, then saw that Braun got there to that ball, cut it off, and got it back in quickly. And when you're down by 4, you can't push it. You know, if you can't walk into second base, you got to stay with the single.
There's Carpenter 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a flyout. Shift on the right side of the infield. That was Wisdom's 5th pinch hit of the year. It's second on the team in a limited amount of time. The first leadoff man to reach in the last 8 innings in this series for the Cardinals. And talk about putting a little pressure on the Brewers.
This game is far from being over.
Agreed. Rockies now a lead of 3-1 against the Phillies.
Pirates 4-0 against Chicago.
The Rockies game in the bottom of the 4th. 2-0 the count on Carpenter. The fans trying to make a little noise here at the ballpark. Taylor Williams, right-hander, throwing into the Milwaukee pit, and I'm sure he's getting ready one way or another for Martinez and the righties coming up. See them setting the defense in that scope that they're backing up into shallow right, the second baseman. Turn him loose on 3-0. Why not? First to have reached.
Also the 100th walk of the season for Carpenter.
And so Cedeno comes in, allows a double to, or rather a single to Patrick Wisdom. And the walk issued to Carpenter. That's back-to-back seasons with 100 walks from Matt Carpenter. Williams coming on. He'll face Martinez coming up. Get the Cardinals come back. It's 7-3. 7-3 in the bottom of the 5th. Taylor Williams into the ballgame by a Chevy called to the pin. 55 appearances for this right-hander, and Jose Martinez coming up. This time of the game last night, the Cardinals, they got it going. That home run hit by Jose Martinez, a walk after that, then a 2-run homer hit by Ozuna. They've got 2 on and nobody out. They trail 7-3. They've been out hit 11-4 in the ball game. Outfield deep. The walk by Carpenter, we mentioned number 100. He joins Joey Votto. Only 2 players in all of Major League Baseball with 100 or more walks in each of the last 2 years. Ball 1 to Martinez. In September, baseball, as we've talked about, a lot of changes. This will be the first season in the history of the game no pitcher throws at least 4 complete games. How about that?
And 50 years ago, Bob Gibson had 28 in 1968.
Here's a 1-0 pitch. Check swing. He went 1-1. Runners in scoring position. 310, 9 doubles. Cranked 5 home runs. He's driven in 62. Big point in the ball game here for the Cardinals.
See, Williams missed 2015 and 16 with Tommy John surgery, and you can see all the sliders he's thrown.
The 1-2. 2-2 with all those sliders too. You think about one getting away, that one almost did, and you could have 2 men in scoring position.
Sure.
Could probably be very aggressive with that secondary lead. The 2-2 inside, and the count runs full.
Oh boy.
The young on deck. This big crowd ready to erupt.
I'll tell you what, the last 2 nights, especially last night, it wasn't as big a crowd as tonight, but boy, was it vocal.
The 3-2 pitch to Martinez. Base hit into right. Wisdom held up at third. They're all loaded up and nobody out for St. Louis.
.6'7", but he's got great plate coverage. A lot of times they'll go away with him, but look at him reach for it. Good piece of hitting there. You got 2 strikes, you're putting the ball in play, and good things can happen. You take the big vicious swing and you come up empty, but when you make a disciplined swing, under control, just going with the pitch, good things happen.
The 49th opposite field hit for Martinez this year. They're loaded up for Paul DeYoung. Wisdom, the single to left. A walk to Carpenter. The right-hander came in, and a base hit allowed by Williams against Martinez. One swing of the bat. It's a tie game. The 0-1. Paul DeYoung with 45 runs batted in since the All-Star break. And quietly, that's the 5th most in Major League Baseball since the All-Star game. 0-2 the count.
Found last year he had very good power, and now getting into a groove. The timing back after being on the disabled list with a broken hand.
On a play. Marcelo Ozuna on deck. Colorado has added a run in their game. They lead 4-1, and the Pirates 4-0 in the top of the fourth. Milwaukee, we talk about the Cardinals chasing the Brewers. Brewers chasing the Cubs. They're only a game and a half out.
Exactly. Paul DeJong, 8-game hitting streak, 11 for 34 with 2 home runs during that time. Really getting back into a groove.
Here's the 0-2. And DeJong sends a fly ball into shallow right center. Who wants it? Yelich with the catch. Wisdom will tag up. He'll score. That makes it 7-4.
Had one more RBI for that list.
That's 65 runs batted in, matching his total from a season ago when he was called up on May 31st. Here's Ozuna, runners at first and second.
Think about it, Danny. You know, he had 25 home runs last year, and he's been out, you know, more than a month with a broken hand. So, all really repeating what the good year he had last year, and now you need him most.
Outfield deep. Ozuna 2 for 2. Way he's swinging the bat. This is the guy you want up.
Yep. He had a really great year last year, but it was the great second half that gave him that good season, and he's swinging the bat much better the second half.
Here's a 0-1 pitch to Marcelo Ozuna. The question would be in this at bat, he's going to see a ton of sliders more than likely. Will Williams finally hang one?
Well, and the other thing too is he kind of know that and try to take it. He's got the power to hit it out of the opposite field. But like you say, you see so many sliders, you're bound to hang one.
The 1-1. 1-2.
Slider speed, and it really didn't do much at all. Just spun.
Jed Jerko on deck. No activity in the Milwaukee bullpen. John Brebbia getting loose for St. Louis. St. Louis and Max Scherzer with strikeout number 300 tonight on the year. May win another Cy Young, and in my mind, he's headed to the Hall of Fame.
Oh, no doubt. Whether he wins the Cy Young or not, he's headed to the Hall of Fame. What he's been doing. 300. That wasn't that big a deal in the 60s and 70s, but boy, it's a big, big deal now. With everybody that strikes out, but he gets well over that 200 innings.
The 1-2.
A couple of those sliders really kind of flat, particularly the one he took.
Another 1-2 pitch. Ozuna chops it high. It's going to be a tough play here. Marcel racing. Save! And the bases are loaded. And still only one out. He's 3 for 3.
Once that ball got over the head of Williams on the mound, you knew that it was a likelihood that he was going to be safe. Chopped down on it over the mound, right there in no man's land. Was that a helpless feeling? You're in the mound, you throw a good pitch, you think you're going to get an out, and you get nothing.
Jed Jerko struck out, walked, scored, bases loaded, only one out, and a 7-4 Milwaukee lead. Oh, what a rip. Foul back.
That first pitch fastball right there, maybe the last fastball he'll see.
The owner of 3 career grand slams. Carpenter the walk. Martinez a 3-2 single to right. Infield hit by Ozuna. And some cheerleading going on. The 0-1. Just off the plate.
Fastball 96 up and in, then a slider down and away. Good to see him lay off that pitch. Now he's seen what it looks like in the batter's box.
The 1-1. 2 balls and 1 strike.
Saw Pena go inside. You knew it was going to be a fastball, but tried to overthrow it and threw it low, ball behind. Nice and relaxed. Jed Jerko. You got to get 3 grand slams before you can get your 4th.
The 2-1. And a chopper towards third. It's a fair ball. Step on the bag and out. And a double play.
They may check this.
They can't. It's not reviewable.
Because it has to go past the bag.
It's got to go past the bag and past the umpire. It's a non-reviewable call on the infield. This inning, but first it's Jason Shreve, the lefty for St. Louis, the 4th pitcher into the ball game in our Chevy call to the pen. So the lefty is in for St. Louis. And with Yelich coming up, the Indeed player resume. First in average and slugging percentage, top 10 in home runs, and runs batted in, second in runs. It's been an outstanding year, and really a team-friendly contract that he signed in Miami that carried over to Milwaukee, and that's Christian Yelich.
This could be Shreve, one batter appearance. Be a key batter to get out, and then Brevia would take over.
Yelich hitting .333 against the lefties, and there's a ball. We're in the top of the sixth at 7-4. Mentioned that he, along with Ozuna, his former teammate, a lot of hard hit balls. 50.1% of the balls are 95 miles an hour or better. That's the highest in baseball.
I saw that today, and not surprising.
Well, the ball that was hit up the line, commercial break, Mike Schilt went out and asked the home plate umpire, fair or foul, and Mike didn't argue. I mean, he got an explanation, and that was it. But it was really, really close. Now, we don't have a camera going straight down the third base line as Ozuna goes back and makes the catch. But boy, oh boy, was it close. And Mike Schilt will go and make the change. Again, this is a non-reviewable play. Not until it gets past the umpire can you look at it fair or foul. So ruled a fair ball, apparently over the bag, and a key, maybe biggest play in this game thus far. John Brebbia coming in with one out and nobody on in a 7-4 game. Right-hander John Brebbia. The Cardinals used 7 pitchers last night. This is number 5 and counting tonight. Milwaukee used 9 in game 1 and a bullpen start. So Chevy called to the pen. 44 appearances now for Brebbia.
Danny, really, when you look at what he has done since August the 1st, he has been really good. 2-0, 0.79 ERA, 19 strikeouts, opponent batting 184 against him in the 12 games. Here's a good note. All 3 of his wins have come at home. So trailing by 3, get a couple outs here and get back on offense, and let's get Brebbia another win.
And the first pitch is strike. It's now 6-1. Rockies leading the Phillies. That ball game in the top of 5. 0-2 on Jesus Aguilar, who homered to start the scoring for Milwaukee back in the first with 2 outs off of Austin Gomber.
Big and strong, and you can see you can get him off balance, but you make a mistake, he'll lose it.
And Brebbia gets him to reach. Cardinals have done that time and again against Aguilar, hitting under 200 against St. Louis this year. That's Bill DeWitt Jr. on the left, Bill DeWitt the third on the right. Souvenir time. Bill may be listed as day-to-day, but aren't we all?
Some more than others.
The effort was there. So 2 outs, and here's Ryan Braun. Here's a 1-0. Braun hits it to Wong. Boots it. Moving to his left. Can't come up with it.
Probably scored a hit. But the way we've seen Colton play defense, you know, I'm sure he believes he should have caught that ball. Hard hit. Took a little hop, came up and hit him on the wrist or the heel of the glove, and they do give it an error.
Hernan Perez. 2 outs and a runner at first. Perez tonight grounded back to the pitcher, struck out and singled to center. Molina, Bader, and Wong coming up for the Cardinals in the bottom of the 6th. It's a very important inning. When you think about Knebel, they probably can get an inning out of him, and then Jeffress is well rested. Now, whether or not he's dealing with the neck spasms, we'll find out, but he also could give you multiple innings. Brandon Woodruff getting loose in the bullpen for Milwaukee. And the 0-1 pitch to Perez. Long look by Brebbia, and time is called. Folks, remember last night, the home plate umpire is going to hear about it.
I saw Rich Rieker, umpiring supervisors, and asked him about the play when Lance Barksdale called timeout, and he said, yeah, he called timeout because the ball was wet. He didn't have his back to it. He said, yes, he made a mistake, and he owned up to it. And they're human.
0-2. Well, the ball will find you, and I guess the ball has found Lance Barksdale. He was behind the plate last night, then came up with the call, fair or foul, down at third last inning.
Maybe one of the loudest I've ever heard fans react here in St. Louis against an umpire.
Remember in '98 when Mark McGwire was ejected in the home run race, Busch Stadium 2, and happened on a Saturday in a packed house at Busch Stadium, and I mean it was
Jack had
loud.
to make an announcement.
Did it on the radio, yeah.
On the radio made an announcement, and then the next day they got a standing ovation. The power of Jack Buck.
Here's an 0-2 pitch. Again, another long look. Time called. Brebbia was on the mound last year when we were at Fenway Park, and time was called when he was on the mound. Key moment in that game, and the umpire said he was tired. That was unbelievable.
And sometimes you're instructed by the bench to hold the ball there.
And the 0-2. A fly ball into shallow right, late break, and Martinez, though, will make the catch. Coming up, He's homered tonight. Yadier Molina, Harrison Bader, and second baseman Colton Wong. All important game number 2 on Fox Sports Midwest. Brandon Woodruff is into the ballgame. Chevy called to the pen. Did make a handful of starts, 4 of them for Milwaukee. And Yadier Molina coming up. It'll be Molina, Bader, and Wong. Now time for Built for Baseball, brought to you by T-Mobile. Talked about it at the time. May have chased the ball, but so what? It's a home run.
0-2 pitch. All 3 pitches were out of the strike zone, but he jumped on that one for the 3-run bomb. Cardinals were down 6-0. Now 7-4. Woodruff started the season as their #1 prospect and spent 6 times coming up and down the ladder between AAA and the big leagues.
Since the 20th of July, a .78 ERA. Catches the bottom of the zone, 0-2. May have broken his bat. 0-2 the count, and indeed he did. Some players, you've got your gamer bat, you've got your BP bat, then you got to spray on the stickum. Got to like your glove too.
It is interesting to see how some guys don't let anybody touch their bats and others let pitchers use them.
Adrian Beltre's case, you better not touch the top of his head. Here's the 0-2 pitch. The superstitions in the game of baseball.
Oh, there's a bunch of them.
Yadier Molina tonight has joined Ted Simmons as the only 2 Cardinal catchers to have 2 20 home run seasons. Simmons in 77 and 79. And Yadi in 2012 and still going here in 2018.
Eddie was a line drive hitter. You know, he'd get his home runs, but his forte was high batting average and driving in runs when they meant something. A pure hitter in the National League in the 70s. There was.
Teddy, the 10th pick overall in 1967. Another broken bat. Hit softly to third. And that's the first out. Make spring training a part of your 2019 vacation plan. Get away for a weekend or stay a week. Cardinals Vacations provides everything you need, including hotel, game tickets, much more. For details, visit Cardinals.com. Vacations, 800-892-7687.
Watching Yachty run down to first. Reminder once again, you know, with his hamstring, he's under orders not to bust it out of the box. Just play under control.
Ted Simmons batted 306 times and 20 home runs at least 5 times as a Cardinal. 6-time All-Star and a Cardinal Hall of Famer.
And Dan, 1975, he hit 332. I think it was 332. It was either 332 or 333. He hit switch hitter, hit 333 one side and 332 the other side.
And at 75, memory serves correct, set the single season record for hits as a catcher. He had 188. And then later that was broken by, I believe, Jason Kendall.
I think you're right. You know, Ted, we know what an Iron Man that Yachty is. Well, Ted Simmons played more games and playing on the turf.
Al, I know this is a fact off the top of my head. 150 games, 7 consecutive seasons.
Right.
With the heat and the turf of the old Busch Stadium as Bader hits it out of play.
And I remember late in the season, you know, he was going for the batting title and was just exhausted. I mean, his arms were so weary that, you know, he'd get pitches he should crush and he'd pop them up. But he played every day like Yachty, and that turf was a different animal.
Strikeout of Bader. I also think their hands, as much as the hand in particular, your left hand, which is your bottom hand as a right-handed batter, Bader gets beat up. Here's Colton Wong with 2 outs and nobody on. The Cardinals trying to get something going, down by 3. Greg Garcia has moved in the on-deck circle. Shift for Wong. 0 for 2 tonight. Strike 1. Oh, and 2. Wong waves at it, strikes out. Pair of strikeouts for Woodruff. We head to the 7th. Brewers on top, 7-4. The top of the 7th with Yelich. The big hit in this game with the bases loaded, a triple that brought in 3. Aguilar 2 for 4, solo home run. Yadier Molina 3-run homer. And Marcell Ozuna 3 for 3 with a run scored. So Brebbia still in the ball game. And we move to the top of the 7th with Moustakas, Scope, and Manny Pena coming up for Milwaukee. Milwaukee, the only team in baseball with 3 batters in their lineup with 90 or more RBI. Yelich, Aguilar, and Mike Moustakas. They have got some thump. And look at their bench too. They've really strengthened that bench.
Yeah, the bench.
And that pitch popped up and out of play.
Brett Cecil warming up in the Cardinal pen. Brebbia got the last 2 outs in the 6th. He's been used quite a bit of late, and rightfully so.
Way inside, 1 ball and 1 strike. Look at the spray chart here for Moustakas, and you can see why the Cardinals would shift. StatCast AI powered by AWS. Two balls and 1 strike. Moustakas, a free agent to be, re-signed with Kansas City for 1 year, then traded away to Milwaukee. Outside, 3-1.
38 bombs a year ago for Kansas City, and then didn't really have any takers on the free agent market. Went back to Kansas City.
It's another good year with 28 this season. And a leadoff walk. Those usually have a way of coming back and biting you. There's Jonathan Scope.
It's really evident, Dan, in the games the Cardinals won against Milwaukee, the bullpen was very good, a lot of strikeouts, very few walks. But the games that they've lost, a lot less strikeouts and a ton of walks.
Yep. The history of the game. It's interesting to note that leadoff walks scored nearly 42% of the time.
And then I bet if you talk about the last few innings, it's even more.
But 42% of the time in the history of baseball, leadoff walks come around to score. Here's an 0-1 pitch to Jonathan Scope. 0-2. Scope tonight is grounded out, single to left. Intentional walk back in the 5th. Corey Knebel is up, so that would tell you that Jeffress is available tonight and rested. Here's an 0-2 pitch. Out of play. Cardinals will have a pinch hitter. Carpenter. Martinez coming up. Knebel finished off the Cardinals last night.
So often people think about, having a dominant closer. But really what you have to have is 2 or 3 guys down there that can finish off that 7, 8, and 9.
Cardinals thought they had that at the beginning of the season, and it did not obviously work out. They then revamped the bullpen. The addition of Hudson. That was big. And the 1-2 pitch by John Brebbia. The fly ball into right. Martinez near the line and makes the catch. You can see a situation where maybe a Matt Adams would pinch hit to start, or Garcia just to get on, save Adams for later. But then Martinez, he is due up third. You have not used Tyler O'Neill, and O'Neill could come in the ball game and take over in right. We'll see how the Cardinals want to play it.
Hopefully you're getting back to the point where Martinez helps you get a lead, and then you can put that defensive player in there.
Manny Pena 2 for 3. Came up with the bases loaded back in the 5th. Single to left. He's done that twice. Scored a run, drove in a run.
The ball's so hard to left, they only could get one run.
No balls and a strike. Rockies now an 8-1 lead. Time called. I would say in the staff, Brevy is the one that holds the ball the longest of those that are coming out of the bullpen of the Cardinals.
That's not easy to do either. I mean, yeah, it takes the spring out of the life of a base stealer. It makes the hitter uncomfortable. But not all pitchers can wait that long and just hold the ball.
And the 0-1 pitch to Manny Pena. Short lead at first. Out to deep left. Ozuna back near the wall on the track and makes the catch. And Moustakas wisely tagging up from first to second. Kindergarten through 5th grade teachers sign up now for the free Fredbird and Friends elementary school program presented by Fox Sports Midwest. Program led by Fredbird and a Cardinals celebrity like my partner Al Raboski. Cardinals.com/school program for details.
New program now. No longer the say no to drug message. It's now how to be a good teammate.
And you're leading the way.
Fredbird.
That's how
Can't
you get
talk,
out of it.
but he leads the way.
So 2 outs and runner at second, and Orlando Arcia the batter. Cubs trailing 5-0. That's in the bottom of the 5th at Wrigley. I'm sure that guy has heard nothing from the fans here in St. Louis. Really blends in. Runner at second, Moustakas, and the 0-1 pitch to Orlando Arcia. Fouled back in a good cut, 95-mile-an-hour pitch.
I thought you were going to say it's kind of cheesy.
It's too cheesy to say that. There he is, enjoying a little baseball here in St. Louis. Nothing at 2 the count. He had Arcia way out in front, fooled on the slider. The first pitch of the at bat. Let's see if he goes back to it here. And the 0-2. Out of play. Arcia made the start in the ball game last night. He was the opening day shortstop for the Brewers that at one point was sent to the minor leagues, hitting below the 200 mark, but late in games you'll see him come in. He is a terrific defensive player. So he can pinch hit here, and if they wish, they can keep him in the ball game.
Just 1 for 5 as a pinch hitter this year.
Long look and an 0-2 pitch by Brebbia. And time called.
I know at times he does this, but it just seems like he's a lot slower this, recently.
Probably tells you his times to the plate are slow too. Doing anything he can to counteract that. And the 0-2. Lifted in the air, left center, Bader over. He'll make the catch, and it's time to stretch here at Busch Stadium. Good work by John Brebbia, pinch hitter, top of the lineup coming up for St. Louis.
And Corey Knebel picked up his save last night as our Chevy called to the bullpen. As I said, he picked up his 16th save last night. Knebel, just an outstanding closer last year. Early in the season, he had a hamstring pull that if you would have seen that game, you would have thought he ripped it right off the bone. Fortunately for them, he only missed 29 games. Actually, at one point this year, was actually sent back to the minor leagues, but he was a premier closer last year. Just exceptional stuff. And Greg Garcia will pinch hit here. Cardinals got their 4 runs on 6 hits. Brewers got 11 hits in this game.
And the first pitch to the backstop by Knebel. Thanks to Cardinals home runs this season, the Gateway Honda dealers have donated more than $180,000 to help make children's dreams come true. Together with Make-A-Wish Foundation of Missouri, they help grant the wishes of critically ill children. Inside to Greg Garcia. I'm sure there might be some fans wondering, Al, why not Adams or O'Neill? But you need base runners, and you save that thump for later. Yeah,
we're going to have those guys that have the power, and Greg has a great ability of get on base.
The 2-0.
So takes walks. He understands the strike zone well. Get a few hits here. Then you save the thumpers for in your position to where you got multiple runs on. They can get you right back in this game or take the lead.
It was 21 pitches last night for Knebel. 3-0 pitch. 3-1. Cardinals had the home run hit by Molina back in the 4th. Brebbia has been able to settle things down, keep it a 7-4 Milwaukee lead. 3 balls and 1 strike on Garcia. May have been low, but it caught the bottom of the zone.
Look at it here, and 9 times out of 10, you probably just gone first base on that pitch. Greg is 6th in the Cardinal history with 36 pinch hits.
The 3-2 pitch. Garcia, base hit in the center. And the leadoff man is aboard for St. Louis.
That's what he can do. Eat some salsa and pick a base hit there as a pinch hitter. But got a high percentage that he'll get on base. Make a pitcher work. Got one right down the middle and took it right back up the middle.
Well, considering that they had Jennings start the game to face Carpenter yesterday, now they got to deal with him with a runner on. Hader probably unavailable. They've used Cedeno, but you like any matchup right now with Knebel. He's been that good here in the last month or so. Carpenter tonight struck out, fly to center, and walked back in the 5th. A breaking ball drops in for his strike.
Knebel has 79 strikeouts and 51 in the 3rd innings.
And when right, you'll see a breaking ball that starts at the top of the zone and goes straight down. Your prototypical curveball, if you will, and they've changed the arm slot. They saw it was dragging a little bit.
He also has that overpowering fastball to go along with that outstanding breaking ball.
Here's the 0-1. Inside corner, 0-2. Well, that's painted there at 97 on the inside corner. Jose Martinez at the on-deck circle, shift on with 2 strikes.
Shift on, look at the gap out left center. Anything down the 3rd base line.
And the 0-2.
Trying to overthrow a little bit.
Outfield very deep.
Saw Moustakas and Arcia, who stayed in the ball game, change positions.
Moustakas now on the second base side of the bag. Arcia towards his normal spot. 2-2.
Sometimes, Dan, when you're a little tired, it really helps you with that knuckle curveball to stay on top of it. But also, sometimes you overthrow the fastball and you get it up.
The 2-2 to Carpenter. Struck him out. Didn't like it. Struck him out. And he has words with the home plate umpire. Jose Oquendo racing down the
third
base line, and now Carpenter's been tossed.
It's real little, our home plate umpire.
It turned around, and he's tossed after going back towards the dugout. He's going back towards the dugout. This is an important game, clearly.
We don't know if he said something loud enough to be heard, a magic word, but as you said, you could turn your back and kind of say, walk away and let it go.
He wasn't doing this. He was going to the dugout. You have to understand the importance of the game. The guy's got 36 home runs. This isn't April. 5 games to go.
In Carpenter's mind, this ball goes around the plate. You know, it's a breaking ball that ends up high and away on the corner, but look at that. Now look, watch how calm, questioning, but walks away. And there he said something.
Awful. He's walking away.
But he said something, and you don't know what he said.
Take it. It's
They
5
don't do
games
that.
left.
They don't do that, Danny. It's more about them.
Fifth time that Carpenter has been ejected. Second time for Mike Schilt. Now, if he's showing him up and he's face to face and the magic words come out and it's loud and it's boisterous and maybe bump, I get it. He's walking to the dugout. Here's a 1-0 now to Martinez. And it's a base hit out to left. Garcia to third. Martinez to second. And he's in there. Now do you want to go with O'Neill to run for Martinez? You do have Adams that you can put in at first base. Something to think about.
Hanging breaking ball there, and he just turns on it, pulls it right down the third base line. Get down into the corner. Garcia is able to go over to third. Martinez pushes the envelope, gets into second, and that's sometimes what a Mike Schilt's going to do, is try to ignite not only his team but also the fans here too. And of course, you know, Will Little wasn't that long ago he was in the minor leagues, so Mike Schilt knows these umpires pretty well.
Pulled foul by Paul DeYoung. Jose Oquendo now the acting manager of the Cardinals. Mike Schilt telling us that right away when he was named the interim manager, that if he ever got tossed, it would go to Jose. Here's an 0-1 pitch to Paul DeYoung. And the 0-2 to the Cardinals shortstop. Struck him out. And it brings in Ozuna. And Marcell Ozuna with 3 hits today. And the BJC Healthcare difference maker. Now, first base is open. Not to say that they would intentionally walk him, but they certainly could be careful. Ozuna is a guy that is right now locked in. 4 hits in his last 5 at bats and a home run yesterday. So 2 outs and 2 on, and there's ball 1. He may get a steady diet of that off the plate.
I was a little surprised that Pena didn't go out to talk to him initially, just to remind him of what you just talked about. Yes, he represents a tying run at the plate, but you know, you do have the base open. Soria in the bullpen.
You know, Jerko would love another chance to come up with the bases loaded. Carpenter ejected. Schilt ejected. 2 outs, 2 on. 7-4 our score. Ozuna representing the tying run.
And you set up outside.
That's what's going to,
right.
You know, he's going to get that here, and if he'll chase, he'll chase, but
And
more than likely will not.
Right. You got to make sure that be ready as a hitter. See if they make a mistake.
The 2-0. Well, you know he's got the green light.
Ooh.
It backed up on him and it drops in.
That's what you worry. You know, with a fastball, you got a better chance to locate it, and then you worry about throwing, you know, the knuckle curveball. And if he wasn't expected to be walked there, I think he would have had a pitch that he could have drove.
3 balls, 1 strike on Marcelo Zuna. The base is loaded for Jed Jerko. Soria is loose and hot, and it's a decision now for Craig Counsell. Do you roll the dice with Knebel in back-to-back games, not quite as sharp here in game 2, or do you go with Soria, who also pitched last night? Needs a drink of water.
Yeah, Knebel's your horse. You go after him. You leave him out there, and then if now Jerko does something,
Jerko
2 outs.
0 for 5, 3 strikeouts against this right-hander. The base is loaded with 2 outs. Strike 1. Jerko came up with the bases loaded in the 5th and grounded into a double play. And the 0-1. Nothing in 2. Oh-2 pitch. Jerko with a fly ball into right field, and the Cardinals will strand the bases loaded. We head to the 8th, and it's 7-4 Milwaukee. Mike Myers is the new pitcher, and our Chevy call to the pen 49th appearance for the Cardinal right-hander. Both Mike Shildt and Matt Carpenter ejected in this game. I know some fans may say, well, you can't argue balls and strikes. So you can have a word with the umpire. It did get a little heated, but you have to understand the situation. And when the player, who in this case is a vital one, with his back to you for the most part and walking to the dugout, might be the time to let it go. Instead, Carpenter ejected. Jose Martinez still in the ball game in right. And here's the top of the lineup, Lorenzo Cain. Cardinals have stranded 7, and twice they have had the bases loaded. So they have not had that timely hit tonight. And the 1-0 pitch. 1 ball, 1 strike. And with the bases loaded, Christian Yelich delivered with a triple into right center that scored 3, and one of the biggest hits in this game. And overshadowed a bit the hit by Gio Gonzalez. The pitcher came in hitting .063, and he did that with 2 outs. That drove in a run. The Cardinals got the first 2 outs in the 4th, and then the next 5 would reach. Good pitch by Myers, and it's 2-2.
And this is an emotional game, and there's times where your emotions get carried away. But been around a long time, and you can't beat the umpires.
The 2-2, and he struck him out. Good fastball at 96 by Myers.
Right down at the bottom of the strike zone. Good pitch right there. Mike Myers has really been given the opportunity to pitch a lot in the second half. Probably the most impressive pitcher in spring training was Mike Myers, and then he kind of got lost, wasn't used early in the season, went up and down, but since Mike Shildt has taken over, he believes in him.
And a fastball. Back to Myers. And that's out number 2.
Watching the 2-0 while your friends go for the steal? We understand. Great Southern Bank. We're fans too.
Jesus Aguilar. He's 2 for 4 with a home run and a single. Home run back in the first to the bullpen of the Cardinals. Cardinals will have Molina, Bader, and Wong coming up. And a single into right center.
Cardinals don't do a lot of shifting, particularly with a right-handed batter, and Aguilar just hit that exactly where the second baseman would be if he didn't have the shift on. See Colton Wong over there, and right where he would have been.
Milwaukee with 2 outs tonight. This is a story that certainly has developed. 8 for 13. So they have extended a lot of innings. And that's drilled into left center off the bat of Braun, and it's gone. 2-run homer, Ryan Braun. His second tonight, third in this series.
Ryan Braun is leaderboard in so many offensive categories for Milwaukee. Sad picks up his second home run, just middle half in, 96 miles an hour, but he knew it. And right now, Cubbies are losing 6-0. Milwaukee could be a half game behind the Cubs after today.
And the Cardinals could be a half game behind Colorado for the final spot. '31st career multi-home run game for Ryan Braun. And a ground ball. Mishandled by Adams.
Second error for the Cardinals tonight. Pop Warner is going to make a pitching change.
Brett Cecil coming on, and it's 9-4 Milwaukee. Brought to you by Budweiser. Wherever legendary MLB moments happen, Budweiser will be there. And by Ford, going further so you can. There's Mike Moustakas and Brett Cecil into the ball game, his 40th appearance. Our Chevy called to the pen.
First time Cecil has pitched on this homestand. Last time out was in Atlanta.
Gets a pop-up. And DeYoung under it. Makes the catch. 9-4 after the 2-run homer hit by Braun. 9-4. We're in the bottom of the 8th. And Travis Shaw takes over at first base. The new pitcher, Joakim Soria, in our Chevy call to the pen. There's a look at Shaw at first base, and our score 9-4. It'll be Yadier Molina to lead it off.
Soria pitched a perfect 8th inning yesterday. If Yadi can't get something started for the Cardinals.
The first, the fourth, the 8th, the Brewers scored 8 runs combined. In all 3 of those innings, the Cardinals got the first 2 outs of the inning.
Couldn't get the. Sometimes just couldn't get the 3rd strike by somebody, but couldn't get the 3rd out for sure.
Milwaukee is out hit St. Louis 13-8. They lead 9-4. Keon Broxton in right, and Yelich going from right to left. Molina into center, and that'll carry to Lorenzo Cain. Makes the catch, and there's one away. Joakim Soria, our Hyundai pitch arsenal. Fastball, changeup, slider, and curve.
Long major league career. Big years with Kansas City.
Harrison Bader with 1 out and nobody on. Strike 1. Bader hitless tonight. They're in the bottom of the 7th. The Rockies an 8-3 lead over the Phillies. Little check swing. Ball drops and out at first. What a play. How good is that? We told you that shortstop combination of Perez, Arcia, about as good as it gets, and Arcia with a dandy. Wow, what a play.
Sleight of hand trick ignition right there. Watch Perez come in here. You think he's going to get the ball. He misses it. And how about the concentration? You have a player flash in front of you and still make that play and then throw out a speedy runner.
That was awesome. It's a great play. So 2 outs and Colton Wong. 9-4 our score. And a ball inside. Start time early tomorrow. 5:30 pregame show. 6:15 with the first pitch. Loved by the third baseman Moustakas. And the Cardinals go quietly. 9-4 as we head to the 9th. All right, guys, thank you. Brett Cecil got the final out in the top of the 8th. Starts things off here in the 9th inning. And Travis Shaw will be the batter.
How good was that trade last year to bring Shaw to Milwaukee?
Came from the Boston Red Sox. Tyler Thornburg going the other way, and he got hurt. Tomorrow, Jhoulys Chacín, he's 14-8, and last time he pitched against the Cardinals, he was magnificent. John Gant, 7-6 for St. Louis. Again, the start time on television, 5:30 with our pregame show. Jim Hayes will have all the news of the day here at the ballpark.
And talking about Chacín, 1-7 now with a 6.10 ERA because of that outstanding effort, but came out of nowhere. But he's really turned the corner and one of the better pitchers in the National League this year.
Yeah, terrible numbers for a long time against the Cardinals, and then his last time out, tremendous. 2-2 the count. Milwaukee will wrap up the road portion of their schedule here tomorrow and then go home, and they've got Detroit.
Yeah.
So they're putting themselves in very good position. And you think about Chicago and St. Louis and what could be huge playoff implications for both teams. Slow roller up the first base line. Cecil flips to Adams, and they get the out.
Very nice play right there. Shaw kind of waiting to see if they want to challenge it. Pat Murphy on the phone. At University of Notre Dame coach, and then went to Arizona State.
No challenge, and a really good play here by Brett Cecil.
Yeah, a little dribbler down their first base line. Brett just flips it to Adams. Ooh, I thought he was safe. Thank you.
I think Shaw is a little surprised too. He's just getting in the dugout.
You know, the Brewers, Danny, have made 33 replay challenges, and they're 7-26. I think they missed another one. They may be a little gun shy about doing it. $33 seems awful low too, doesn't it?
Yeah. Jeremy Jeffress is up.
No matter what happens, and the Cardinals are playing in Chicago this weekend, both teams are going to be trying to knock each other out.
And it's popped up, so Cecil will get first 3 that he's seen thus far.
Garcia, who pinch hit in the 7th inning, state of the game, play shortstop, will be a hitter. Cecil's knuckle curve has gotten much better. Last year he kind of lost the feel of it. pitch that he throws more than 50% of the time. And it's, you know, throw it in the low 80s. There's two of them there, get swinging over the top of them.
And a base hit on an 0-2 pitch. Bader sliding for it. It still makes it close. What a play by Bader. The hustle in a 9-4 game. You appreciate that. Sliding for it, going to his left. Bobbled it just a bit. And with that, Arcia was able to get in there safely. If he comes up with it cleanly, he might have got him out.
He hangs this one here, and so Arcia gets the ball, as you said, out in right center. So Bader with that good speed. He almost looked like he's shading towards left, and cuts it off. There's that slight bobble, and fires a strike in there. So a good play, and I've enjoyed watching him play, period.
Couldn't agree more. Intentional walk to Kane to set up a lefty-lefty matchup with Yelich. We talked about it though earlier. Yelich's numbers against lefties, they've been impressive this season, at .323 average.
Numbers are impressive, period.
So 2 outs and 2 on, and Yelich lifts a high fly ball into center. Bader back at the wall, leaps, and it's gone. 3-run homer for Yelich.
Six RBIs for Yelich today. The hanging knuckle curve, and he gives it a ride. Bases clearing triple and a 3-run home run.
Ground ball hit to DeYoung. The throw that gets away. Broxton with his speed.
Circled catching that ball, and then must have just not having the grip on it as he airmailed it. Broxton's speed will make you do that. Cannot hesitate a bit when he's running.
It's 11 2-out runs tonight. The Cardinals pitch around Kane to get to Yelich, and he hits a 3-run homer, and that's the way things have gone.
Anderson. Checking the batting order. They get out of, yeah.
It was Yelich's 900th career hit, by the way.
Cardinals 3 errors again tonight. Lead the major leagues in errors, now at 127.
It's a career high 6 runs batted in by Yelich. The bases loaded triple in the 3-run homer. Tyler Saladino .12-4, top of the ninth, 2 outs. leaderboard, Christian Yelich. What a night he has had. He's driven in a career high 6, the Budweiser plays of the game. That's with the bases loaded. And he's triple into right center. And then off of Brett Cecil, this 3-run homer. The Budweiser plays of the game.
And Dan, a lot of the voters are going to wait right to the end and see what these candidates do, you know, in the push for postseason. He's making a statement.
He's driven in half the runs for the Brewers here in game number 2. This is Barnes, Jacob Barnes in our Chevy call to the pen. So Jeffress again can sit and be available obviously tomorrow.
Yeah, it's a luxury you have when you got 8-run lead going into the 9th inning. But Barnes, 4th stint with the Brewers, hard thrower. Craig Counsell has been busy with those relievers, but coming up with the right formula.
Edmundo Sosa. Edmundo Sosa walked in his major league debut. And first pitch swinging, popped up and out of play. The MVPs in Brewers history: 1981, Raleigh Fingers. Robin Yount did it twice, 1982, and they lost in 7 games to the Cardinals in the World Series. Did it again in 1989. And Ryan Braun was the MVP in 2011. 0-2 on Sosa. Highly thought of young player, middle infielder for the Cardinals.
He just joined the ball club on Sunday, right? Kind of extra insurance when Wong was out.
And he strikes out. So the first man retired here at the bottom of the 9th. And it brings in Matt Adams. Well, the only thing you can say is regroup, go get him tomorrow.
That's it.
This has been a tough one and a tough series, clearly.
I'll see what they've got.
Little chopper slowly hit towards first. Out number 2.
More than likely, Colorado will hang on and win. They're leading 10-3. Top of the 8th. Cardinals could be a half game behind Colorado in the second wild card. And that fan, it will be okay.
It represents the collective feeling right now
Of many of us.
But 4 to go after tonight.
Yep, that's right. Cardinals made 3 errors. They really haven't been instrumental in the scoring, but they've allowed 4 home runs in this game.
Now, it's a long lost cousin.
I haven't given up. It's not me. It's a Rockies fan. Looks good in the wilderness.
2-1.
One full beard this winter.
Are you?
Until I'm told not to. No, I've been domesticated.
The 2-1 pitch. 2-2.
Sad faces.
Early start tomorrow, 5:30 pregame show. If you have a ticket, 6:15, the final regular season home game. The 2-2. And a pitch low and away, 3-2.
How many times did we see Cardinal fans late game cheering, stand on their feet in Milwaukee?
This is the team from their perspective that has crushed the hopes of the Milwaukee fan base. 82, 2011, knocked them out late season, regular season. They came in the Central Division, so now their fans have a chance to see the Brewers take the first 2. And a 3-2 pitch out to center. And Kane is there. The Brewers will look for a sweep tomorrow. A final of 12-4. We're on the air at 5:30, 6:15 the pregame show. Don't go anywhere. Postgame next.